I saw this epic TikTok video of Mutavamusic creating a choir just by himself. Coming off of our code, I wondered, could I make this in Scratch? And the answer is yes. Yes, I can.
Where I belong. Where oh, this is so much fun. Where I belong.
The first thing I want to do is set up my stage. So I'm going to go to a preloaded backdrop that I had. You could use one in Scratch, but because of this project, I want to make it really specific to what I'm doing, which is my Hark to the Bells Christmas choir. So I'm going to go to upload the backdrop, and I already have one preloaded in here. Let's add that in there. And then just make sure it covers the entire stage. So my backdrop's ready, I have a stage, and now it's time to add the sprites. So for my main sprite, I decided to make my own, but for the choir, I'm going to have Scratch's sprites right in there. All I did was open up Google Drawings and found some free, royalty-free images. So I'm going to make my bell here. So there's his big eyes. I'm going to leave the mouth though, because I'm going to design something in the Scratch editor for the costume. So we're going to have this sprite make two different things happen. So make sure when you're saving your image, when you do your download, save it as a PNG because we don't want any background coming in with this little guy. So back in Scratch, we're going to add that sprite by going down to choose a sprite, go to upload, and there's our little guy there. Now we'll adjust the size and everything eventually, but let's jump over to costumes right away. And here's what we're going to do. Let's duplicate him by doing a right click and hit duplicate. And I'm just going to go draw a little mouth. So to start it off, I'm going to convert it to the vector so I can draw better. I'm going to choose the paint tool, and I'm just going to make a really thick line. Let's change this up to here. You can kind of see what your dot looks like. Don't want a purple mouth. Let's go with the black one so we can see it really well. And I'm simply going to draw the line there. Now, the next phase is, let's go to this other costume, and I'm simply going to draw a circle like his mouth is open. So now it looks like he's kind of singing. So when I go and click on these costumes, we go from that to that, that to that. So it kind of looks like he's opening his mouth and singing, and that's an easy way to do that. So we're going to go back to the code, and now we're ready to start coding this guy. When coding your Christmas scene, code it however you want. I'm just going to adjust a couple things, but this is the greatest thing about Scratch. You design it how you want to design it. You can move things around. I always like to set the stage first. So let's say my main character is going to be up front and the choir is going to be in the back, so he might have a little bit of size difference with perspective. Once he's there, I always like to set up my events where I want to make sure things go where they belong, which means I grab the green flags. When I click this program, I'm going to make sure that sprite is always going to be at that location. So even if I move him around, when I hit that green flag, he's going to go right back to where I need him to be. So we're kind of ready, set up the stage. The next step is get all the sprites for your choir in. Let's get our choir built now. We're just going to go to the choose a sprite, go to the search, and then you have all these fantastic characters to choose from when you want to go in. So mix it up. Let's have some fun. So I'm going to grab Devin here. There he is. Now notice he's really big if I'm trying to use perspective. Well, you can shrink him down just like we did our bell. But rather than guessing right here and trying to get what you want, what I like to do is I go to looks and see where it says change size here. Let's change that to -10. And now when I click on this, it kind of reduces him. And I don't have to guess anymore, so I'm just going to reduce them. You know what? Maybe one more. Yeah, I like that. Let's go right in here, move them where I want them to be. Perfect. I like that. Basically now, you're just going to fill up your choir. So you're just going to repeat that stage over and over until you have your full choir. Mix it up, have some fun, and let's choose some more sprites. That is a good looking choir. Now one thing you might want to notice is, see how I have some overlaying each other? If you click on that specific sprite, so let's click on Clanker over here, there he is. When you go over to the looks, there is a go forward and backward button, but because I know I want Clanker in the back, if I click on this and go to back and just click it, you can see he popped it right there. Let's take a look at our choir here. Let's go full screen. Oh yes, that's a good looking choir. All right, so now we're ready for the coding aspect of this. Our stage is set, and now you guys, our stage is set, and now you get to decide how deep you want to go with this. You could start recording sounds right now and it will work, but because it's us and I have a choir, I'm going to actually change some of the costumes and make it look like they're singing a bit. Now this will depend on the sprite that you pick. I'm going to click on Devin here. I'm going to go over to costumes. Now if I click around, notice he has 4 costumes. So this kind of looks like he's singing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take just 2. Let's do this one and this one. He's singing really hard and then he's not. So I'm going to delete the other costumes. I'm just going to give these guys 2 options. So when I click back and forth, it looks like he's singing too. So you can go through your sprites and find those. Some only have 1 costume, so this ranger only has 1. But some have multiple where you can go in and you can change them. This guy Dan, he could really be dancing up a storm in the background because he's feeling the music. So you could do that and change costumes, or just leave it as is just to get the singing. But that's just an option you can put in there. So let's go back to our code. And now it's time to start coding. All right, let's go click on our main character. Now this is going to be the launching point for everything. Although we would think we make all the characters do a noise, we're not. We're just going to use our bell as kind of the master coding page to launch everything. The first thing we need to do though is go record our first sound. So we'll click on sounds. And rather than just choose a sound, you're going to go to the microphone. And this is the part of the tutorial that I apologize for because I have to sing the first round of the verses for Hark to the Bells. So here we go. We're going to click the record. Hark how the bells, sweet silver bells, all seem to say, throw cares away. Christmas is here, bringing good cheer to young and old, meek and the bold. And then we hit stop, of course. Sorry, that was painful for you, I know. Now we're going to have this little cropping tool. We want to make sure that it doesn't crop out any of the singing that we did. So this is the oscilloscope. It kind of shows the visual representation of our voice. Let's hit the play button. Hark how the bell. Good. I'm going to hope that's okay. So let's hit save. And you can see there it is there. You can even rename the recording. So I'm just going to put the main so I know it's the main part. And then there's lots of things you can adjust and change around and do things like that. We're not going to touch this though because it is the main part. So let's go back to our code. And you're going to choose how you're going to launch this. If you want to kind of go all automatically like I'm going to show you, I'm just going to take the play sound. And you have 2 choices. Start sound is going to play no matter what. But if you do the play sound until done, it's going to go through the whole song before another piece of code is allowed to go. And that's what I want. So I'm just going to click that there. And then, of course, when I hit the play button, hark how the bells, you hear that sound in there. So that's phase 1 to get our main character to speak. Now it's time to introduce the entire chorus. So we're actually going to do this on the main character just to keep things simple, because you can actually make it seem like the chorus is all singing, but it's really coming from the same script, so it doesn't matter where you really put it. So it is time to go back into our sounds, and we are going to be recording the chorus of Hark to the Bells. So let's try this again. Let's hit the record, and when you're ready, you're going to hit go. Ding dong, ding dong, ding dong, ding 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 dong. And then, of course, you'll do the exact same thing by trimming it up. Now that's just one chorus member. We have a whole bunch in here, so let's have some fun with this. We're going to record the same thing, but we're going to alter our voice a little for each one. Ding dong, ding dong, ding dong, ding 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 dong. So what's going to happen now is if we go to our code, I'm just going to grab when a space bar is clicked, but we're going to grab these start sound buttons again, and you're going to notice we had our main, but now we have these 2 recordings. So if I just kind of move this first and hit this button, ding dong ding, you can hear that play. But when I add the second one, and we're going to change it to recording number 1, here we go. Ding dong, ding dong, ding dong. And now you see our chorus start to evolve. So you're going to repeat this as many times as you want to make a giant chorus.
Ding dong, ding dong, ding dong, ding dong, ding dong.
There you go. That was pretty fun. So as you can see, we just recorded, changed the increments, the levels, the high pitches, the low pitches, and then we just added all our sounds. So we have our sounds. Now it's time to kind of make our choir react to this. So what we're going to do is, this is just a test to put a space bar. So when I press it, I could listen to it at any time. But what we're actually going to do is this. We want to initiate the choir when our lead bell is finished singing. So we're going to use some messaging here. So we're going to broadcast a message when that bell's done singing. So we can drag that in, and I'm just going to call it ring, just to remind me what it is. And now you're going to notice over here, when I receive that message, here's what we're going to do. When I receive that message called ring, we're going to begin singing as a choir. Now we're going to abuse that message called ring to also change the costumes. Now we could use the backpack down here, but I'm going to go with the easy route here. I'm going to put another one where I say, when I receive the message, change that to ring. I'm going to do that costume change. Remember when we went in? So let's click on Devin again and see the costumes. He's got 2 different costumes. So for all my characters that have 2 different costumes, I'm going to have them change costumes. But I'm just going to do it from the bell just because it's easy for me to remember it and I can see all the scripts. So when I receive ring, I want Devin to change that costume. I'm going to go into looks, and I'm simply going to go to next costume. But here's the thing. I want to do this a couple different times. So I'm going to go into my control, and I'm going to either choose repeat, so he does it several times, or I'm going to do forever. For now, let's just do repeat because I think you'll see and understand what I'm talking about. How many dings and dongs are there? I don't know. Let's just say there's 10. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to go grab that repeat loop, and I'm going to put in the next costume inside that. Now you can play around. You could even do a forever loop if you wanted to, but I'm going to play around, say about 10 repeats, how many ever dings and dongs are in there. But here's what I want to do. If I just do it this way, it's just going to flip through costumes super fast. So we need to go in and get a control of waiting so many seconds. So let's put that in there, and you can adjust this time too and play around with it a little bit. But here's the greatest thing. Now, rather than adding that to the backpack or making this script on every single one, I'm just going to take this and I'm going to drag it over and drop it on Devin. And I can do this to everybody who has that specific costume change. And I have a lot of them. So for every single one, and remember I changed it down to only 2 costumes to make life easier on me, I'm just going to drop this in to every single one. And now for the sake of being authentic, don't forget we do want our bell to start singing during his turn over here. So I'm just going to quickly click on the sounds. There's what he's singing. It's about almost 10 seconds. So all I'm going to do is I'm now going to add this again, but watch this. I'm just going to hit duplicate. And now rather than having on ring, let's just crack that open. And we're going to add another green flag. So when the green flag is clicked, this will happen and the voice should be moving with the lips. Let's test out our big giant crowd. Let's go full screen. Are you ready? Hark how the bells, sweet silver bells, all seem to say, throw cares away. Christmas is here, bringing good cheer to young and old, meek and the bold. Ding dong, ding dong, ding dong, ding 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 dong. And there you go. That's how we can make a choir in Scratch, just using our sounds and our messages. I hope you have a fantastic holiday regardless of what you celebrate. It's a time for family and friends, and maybe sneaking in a little holiday coding. Happy holidays, everybody.